welcome to another RSR. Tonight I am previewing the 2023 Toronto FC season. What diverging path is this team going to take? Will they be overperforming? Will they be top of the East? Will they be middle of the pack and make the playoffs like most people expect them to? Will they barely miss out, or will they completely fail? And I will explain the possibilities that could lead to all of these diverging roads and what I think is the most likely and what I think could happen most likely. First off, we'll talk about the new players, of course. In goal, we have a brand new goalkeeper room, out with the old Alex Bono and Quentin Westberg for Sean Johnson and Tomas Romero, which for the first time in a while, or ever, I should say, makes Toronto FC's goalkeeping room one of the best in the league. Because I like Romero more from what he did with Bradley at LAFC, good backup. Sean Johnson, of course, top 3 goalkeeper in MLS, and even if he falls off a little bit, still should be one of the best in the league. It's not going to be something we've really missed on that signing, I should say. But again, one of the best goalkeeper rooms in the league. Great thing to have. At center back, at the back line, of course, Raul Petretta, of course, to play left back. Richie's left, right, left, Richie's right, Petretta's left. Richie can play both sides, so there you go. But again, Raul Petretta playing outside back. It was a permanent signing, so at least one side with a starter is solid for the whole year. Richie, they're still going to have to deal with and try to keep him, if not find somebody who could play just as well for the second half of the season. I think Richie will stay, though. I think so, because they're talking with Nottingham Forest for O'Brien, midfielder. So I think they're probably also talking about Richie as well. So probably get O'Brien on loan. Richie stays, 2 birds with 1 stone. There you go. But I like that as well. Of course, center backs, Matt Hedges and Sigurd Rosted. I think that's a good 2 center backs. Good depth center back, Rosted. He'll probably be starting, and I don't think that's a complete problem. Hedges, of course, a Drew Moore type signing. Older center back, but still has a lot left in the tank. And I do like what they were doing there with Matt Hedges. We need a really good center back, a more captain-like Stewart at the back. So I think that's a good move. I would rather see Hedges and McNaughton together, but if they start with Hedges and Rosted, I'm not going to complain about it. We'll see how it turns out, but it can't be worse than last year. Now, can it? It can't be. It can't be. Famous last words. Midfield, Victor Vasquez is home. Same jersey he held up in MLS Cup 2017, and also the jersey they're sort of reversing for the home kid, if you saw that leak, which I like it. I like it. And I think it'll be better once you see the authentic, but that's just my guess. It's only, tomorrow, I guess? But Victor Vasquez is back in the midfield. I think it's a good move. He has a lot. I won't say a lot left in the tank, but he was one of LA Galaxy's best players last year. So, yes, he has some left in the tank. He's happy to be home. All things that we've heard. He was brought back in the re-entry draft. And it's happy to see Victor back. Not number 7, he's number 8 now, but not going to complain. Victor Vasquez is back, and I love to see it. It's a good thing to see. And I think he will play well. He played well in the preseason games, scored a great goal. Good things to see. And, of course, Adama Diomande at striker. He's either there to teach Jimenez and Ayo to play Bradley's system, or he's there to be the starter, at least for 6 months. And one of those things are going to happen. But I think he will produce. I think he'll be a great striker for this team. He's always been great under Bradley at Stabæk and LAFC. So Bradley knows him. He knows Bradley's system. I think he'll produce, whether it's super sub or starter. I'd start him in game 1, see if he could hit the ground running, but we shall see. Those are the really big moves for TFC, though, this season. And the preseason results are as follows. Of course, they've lost 2 of their preseason games, laid on 3-1 against Vancouver, and a 1-0 loss to LAFC. All goals scored by the opposition in the second half. Because our second team and our depth ain't great. And of course, draw against the Timbers 2-2. Went out to a 2-0 lead. Dropped it to 2-2 draw. Because again, the depth ain't great. And there's a preseason game to be played on Saturday against the LA Galaxy at Dignity Health Sports Park, as is tradition. And that'll probably be the first team. Mostly the first team. So I expect a win. Maybe is it tight? I don't know. I expect a win though. With that being said, that shows you exactly what this team is made of. That shows you exactly where this team is. First 11 is great. The first 11 and maybe the first 3 people off the bench are good. That's not a problem. If they stay healthy, relatively so, for most of the year, we should be fine. If Lorenzo Insigne could stay healthy, if Federico could stay healthy, if Diomande or Jimenez could stay healthy, if the center backs could stay healthy, if Richie could stay healthy, if Sean Johnson could stay healthy, so on and so forth. If our best 11 plus the first 3 off the bench could stay healthy most of the season without many injuries, we should be fine. We should be a great team. Things will go very well. Better than just middle of the road. But let's be honest, this is Toronto FC. We know injuries are a premium at this club, and we know they haven't fixed. The one thing they needed to fix is the physio team. They haven't fixed it. As far as I know, they haven't fixed it. So, yes, there's going to be injuries, and there's going to be moments where we pull our hair out because the TFC2 kids or the younger players or the less talented players are playing in a more open form and a more rotated side. And where does that lead us? Against MLS competition. Not great. But as long as we can get it back to what the Vanny era was like, where they're great with their best team, and then they start rotating and they lose games they really shouldn't, I'm going to be fine with it, because that's honestly, at our peak, that's what happened. If we could get back to that, I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't complain at all. Oh, okay, no, I'll complain in the moment. But right now, overall, I'd be like, they rotated. They pissed it away, but okay, fine. Now, with that being said, TFC, I think they got a good squad. Overall, I think they got a good top squad. They need to fill that in even more than we thought, or even more than they tried. There needs to be another midfielder. Sounds like that O'Brien guy from Nottingham Forest is going to be that guy. There's going to be something in the summer, whether that's a striker or a depth winger or another outside back. Center back, I think they're going to stick with. I think they're going to stick with center defensive mid unless they could get a Tiba. Because, again, he's leaving Besiktas. Maybe that happens. In a Benoit Cheroux type role. And him and Michael switch duties, share duties. I think that may be great if that happens, though. I think if that happens, Atiba and Bradley, and basically every other game, every 2, they switch. Every 1 or 2, like Bradley plays 2, Atiba plays 1, or Bradley plays 1, Atiba plays 1, and they just basically split duties. I have no problem with that. I think they'd both be great in that situation. And maybe if you have to, you play Atiba and Bradley together instead of playing Mark Anthony K. Because let's be honest, I'm still not sold. I'm still not sold on Mark Anthony K. That could be a problem. Then again, they did drop Jimenez in midfield for Diomande. And I think K did play. I think that was when Oso was hurt. Yeah. So maybe that was just a situation. But honestly, drop Jimenez in the midfield. Bradley, Atiba would be great if that happens. Or O'Brien if need be. If that plays out. Point is yes, TFC could do more. on the depth side of things. And I think over time they will. But I think what this team can do is they will hold on. They will. It's not they need to keep their head above water. It's more like they will do good enough to be above water and be more like chest level at the very least by the summer. And when they get those moves in. But again, the window goes till May. I think May. Early May, I think. They have time to make some moves before the summer. They have time. They still do to make a couple more. Then in the summer, they'll do that. There needs to be more depth. And I think over time we're going to notice that that needs to be the case. And if we don't lose many man games to injury in the first half, well, it's going to come back to bite us in the second half. Trust me. Because in the second half, guess what? League's Cup pops up. The run-in comes up. Possible playoffs, which I'm going to say are likely. I'm going to say, the way I see it right now, I have good hopes. Not good hopes, but I believe that Toronto FC should make the playoffs. Now, in what space? I have no idea. I think middle of the road. I think they will be a 4th, 5th place team in the East. I'm going to believe in that. All they have to be is 9th. They should be able to get to 9th. Because again, now they're talking about the wild card 8 versus 9 goes to play number 1 in the quarterfinals, and then it's a best of 3 in the quarterfinals, and then from then on, conference semis, conference final, 1 leg, MLS Cup, 1 leg. To me, this Toronto FC team has no excuse to be anything lower than 9th. They have none. Even if it goes completely off the rails. If this team can't be 9th place or higher, or just at 9th place, blow it all up, because this isn't going to work. Whatever rebuild they're planning or whatever plan they have for 2026 is not panning out. If they cannot finish 9th or above, the plan is not panning out. I don't care how many injuries happen. I don't care what form. If we're like super unlucky and the numbers are saying, you were just really unlucky, the XG would have been way better. Your XG was way better. Your expected goals against was way lower, but you somehow, Sean Johnson fell off a cliff, or he got hurt and it was Tomas Romero or something. I don't know. Point is, you look at the situation, I believe TFC will make the playoffs. I'm not going to put my house on it. I'm not going to say 100% because when you do that, it never goes well. But I'm going to say 95% likely they make the playoffs, because I know there's a possibility that things go completely unlucky, completely awry, and we're still where we were the past 2 years. I get it. And it's very possible, and I'm prepared for that to be the likelihood or end up happening. Because again, where are we now? Exactly. I'm going to be prepared for the fact that things completely go bad or stay bad. I would say go bad, but I'm prepared. There's a 5% likelihood that I know this team is going to go off the rocks, off the mountain. I know it. We all know it. I think we're all prepared. So for me, I'm going to say 95% likely to make the playoffs. Now, if I broke down that 95%, I would say about 10% they're top 4 in the East, or 10%, about 5% that they're first. 10% after that, did I say 5? 10% they're second to fourth. So 15% they're top half. I'd say about 55%, that's 65, 70%. 55% they're 5th to 8th. They're 5th to 8th. And then there's Point is I think it's if they make the playoffs, they're probably from 4th to 8th. And somewhere, 4th to 6th, 4th to 7th. I won't even say 8th. 4th to 7th. That's the big likelihood for me. Yes, could they finish 8th or ninth and make the playoffs and they get in by the skin of their teeth and I'd still be happy after all we've went through? Yeah, of course. That's still making the playoffs. Is that anything more than probably a wild card loss or a loss in the first round? It's probably not anything more. And you're only hosting one game, maybe two if you're the 8th place team in the wild card. Instead of the 4 games you're going to play, you only host 2, which again isn't too bad, but if that's the plan, or it could be the 8-team plan and they play the group stage and 9th may not even make the playoffs. So 9th is still a danger zone because we don't know what they're doing, and we won't know till like May or June, because that's when they announce, oh, here's what the playoffs are going to be. It's going to be this. Here's the dates. Here you go. We don't even know what MLS Cup is going to be this year. If it's going to be late November, early December. We don't know. We don't know. Because we don't know. But because we don't know. They ain't said nothing. Not a thing. So you could say, hey, they're going to play group stage. No. Wild card, first round, best of 3, everything else single-legged. Who knows? I would rather see the wild card and best of 3, if I'm being honest, because group stages be like, you're already done the group stage. Why are you doing another group stage? You played 34 games. We don't need another group stage. But I guess technically the best of 3s give you that amount of games. I think they figured that out. So I guess it will be 9th place. With that being said, TFC should make the playoffs. I am 95% sure that they make the playoffs. I just don't know where they're going to fall. I say middle of the East. Right now, I say top 4 to 6. And I think that's a pretty good spot to be. I don't think they'll play the wild card game right now. I don't think the wild card game is a problem. If that ends up being our place, there you go. But I think they will do good enough to be in the first round without playing the wild card. Probably not hosting but 1 game. If they make 4th, they would host 2 games, of course, and go away for the second. Game 1 and 3 away for the second. I would guess that's the case. But very likely they would host a game 2 and go away for game 1 and 3. But what can you do? My guesses. Leagues Cup. Let's not forget. Leagues Cup. I think they get out of the group against Atlas and NYCFC. I think they get out of the group. I think they win it, if I'm being honest. I think they're the better team with their best 11 than both teams right now. Atlas is going through a horrible time. New York is sort of rebuilding. I think Toronto wins their group. And I don't know if they'll win the Leagues Cup. I think they'll probably get to the quarterfinals at the very least. I think they'll get out of the round of 32. They'll win the round of 32. They'll win the round of 16. They'll get to the quarterfinals. And semifinals would mean you're at least have a 50% chance of going to the Champions League. Or would it be 75? Because it's 3 out of the 4. But you have to play for it. Yes, 50. But I think quarterfinals are going to have I have a feeling that quarterfinals is going to be a heartbreaking loss that just keeps them from being one of the 3 of those 4 teams to go to CCL out of those spots. But I think they'll have a good Leagues Cup. I think they know what it means. I think they'll play well. I think they'll be in form. I could be wrong, but I think they'll be in form by the time Leagues Cup gets around, and I think they'll make a good run in it. I think they will. Can Champ? I think they're going to win the Canadian Championship. I do. Because for me, they're the best team in Canada. Even with their flaws, they're the best team in Canada. Montreal is going to finish bottom of the East. They've got problems. They don't have a new home kit. They got Hernan Losada as their coach. And they got rid of most of their great players with inadequate replacements. They suck. Should beat them in the quarters at home. Then you play a CPL team in the semis at home. You should win that, even if they're rotating at home. And then most likely it's Vancouver at BC Place for a rematch of the 2022 final. And Vancouver, yeah, we may have lost them in the preseason, but I think things will be different. Vancouver has been a little bit of a thorn in our side recently, but I think we get our revenge when it matters the most. So, yes, TFC will at least make CCL through the Can Champ. I think they will get that trophy back. I think they will be much better. Once they get to the final, they'll do enough, and they'll win. They'll win. 2 home, 1 away. Montreal is not great. A CPL team in Vancouver, which I think Toronto's still better than on paper. And I think they want a lot of revenge, and I think they'll get it. I think they'll get it. And we got a way better goalkeeper, and we're not going to let in some BS goal that puts us behind the 8 ball like we did last time. So I think Can Champ, Toronto will win. I think they'll have a good run in Leagues Cup. I think they'll make the playoffs, and I'm not predicting what the playoffs are going to look like because we don't even know what they will look like. So I'm going to stay away from that. I think Toronto will make the playoffs. I think they'll have a good Leagues Cup run. I think they'll win the Canadian Championship. I think things are looking up. I would hope so. I would hope so. But the signings look like a good move. Our top 11 looks great. Our best 3 off the bench look great. As long as we don't do a complete line change, I think we should be fine in most cases. And if injuries stay away and the ball starts bouncing our way, we should have a really good season and better than we expect. So, yeah, I'm starting to believe again. I always do. Hope springs eternal, so on and so forth, and we're on our way. I think we have some good things ahead, though. I believe. With that being said, if you liked this video, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell your friends. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification once subscribed. Send super chats on the live streams. Comment on this video. Put us in playlist. Share with friends and family. All that great stuff. I shall see you on Sunday for the player pyramid. I will rank all the players that are still on the club. And, of course, you know how that works. So the player pyramid on Sunday. I'll see you then for that. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace.